Here's my review of DCKO so far. I'm gonna give each issue a basic synopsis of what happened and a rough score between 1 and 10. So with this first one we got is, I don't even really consider it a tie-in, even though it's on the top it says tie-in, is Aquaman number 11. Up to this point, Aquaman has these new abilities where he can like blood bend, like Katara. And so I think that's kind of cool. I don't think it's gonna last very long, but this story was ultimately about him and his daughter who somehow like aged up. I'm not really following the main Aquaman timeline. I'm just collecting all the DCKO tie-ins. And as far as this goes, I think it was solid. It was okay. Nothing that I hated, but it was like nothing worthwhile. I want to give it like a 7. 7's decent. Now we got DCKO number 1. With DCKO number 1, it starts off with the heroes trying to evacuate Earth from the impending doom of Darkseid, and they try to round up all the villains, have them be sent off to the Phantom Zone, and they try to like select who has like the best chances of fighting Darkseid. It's everybody versus everybody, heroes versus villains. I thought this was like an 8, 8.5. I thought it was pretty cool. Like, it was a nice, good setup, but it felt a little bit rushed on who qualifies for the DCKO event. I did not expect Batman to die, but I mean, when he has his own separate little tie-in series called Night Fight, it kind of makes sense. The way this ends, I'm kind of like rooting for Superman. I feel like he's gonna win, but I'm gonna be very surprised if he doesn't. I think they're gonna handle everything in a good way. Next we got Titans 28. It's a DCKO tie-in comic. This one definitely dealt with the DCKO events because the Titans were in charge of evacuating the Earth in various different ways. So it's nice to see that they were put in charge of the safety of everybody of Earth. The Titans always have great chemistry, so this is like part of the main reason why I love reading this. I give it an 8.5. Next we got Superman number 31. This dealt with Lois Lane being the reporter and kind of uncovering that there may be a way to defeat Darkseid with some sort of Kryptonian artifact. And they reintroduced Superman, or Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime. I'm not too knowledgeable about this. I know a lot of people don't really like him as a character. I'm very clueless on who he is, but overall I think this is a pretty important comic book issue to read for the DCKO. So it's essential, and overall it was good. I had no complaints. I give it like an 8. Next we got Flash number 26. This issue dealt with more of Wally West and Bart Allen, Impulse. There was a lot of time travel mumbo jumbo going on. Thought it was, it's kind of interesting. The Speed Force is kind of in danger, and Bart's kind of messing everything up. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of stories where characters kind of just like are bumbling idiots just for the sake of plot. So this one, I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. I know that eventually it'll be important to the overall DCKO, but I think it's like a 6 out of 10. Next we got Justice League Unlimited number 12. It is the first part of the Terrific 10. Part of the DCKO. It's somewhat part of it. I think it's definitely interesting with who the 10 characters are, that it's part of Mr. Terrific's team. So it's Mr. Terrific, and it's like this iconic page that I got a lot of people talking because it's got your boy Batman Beyond, but it's Tim Drake. I'm not really caught up with all the Tim Drake, Terry McGinnis stuff, so when I first read it I was like, what the heck is going on? Eventually I'll figure out what's going on and it'll make much more sense to me. I thought this was pretty good. A little lost in some aspects, but overall the story was pretty good. I give the story a 7.5 out of 10. Next we got DCKO Night Fight number 1. Batman has escaped death per se, and he's traveling to different worlds where each one of his 4 main Robins, being Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Damian Wayne, grew up to be the Batman in their own respective universes. So this one starts off with Dick Grayson as Batman. The artwork is done by Dan Mora. He always does great artwork for everybody, so it's always nice to read. This series is going to be Bruce Wayne fighting each of his Robins turned Batman. We've seen that trope done before hundreds of times where Batman fights a member of his Bat family, but I mean, it's still entertaining. The artwork is great, and ultimately, I think it was a pretty great read. I give it an 8 out of 10. Next, we got Titans number 29. This dealt with some previous issues in the Titan series that I'm not quite caught up with. I know that Terra is back in this, is introduced with the Titans as a villain. She's locked up. She's kind of untrustworthy, but you know, the world's at stake, and it ends with, can we trust her? I always like seeing Granny Goodness being an antagonist. The Titans are separated, one split with one storyline, the other one's going with another one. It's going to be interesting how they will eventually reunite. Overall, it was a good story. Nothing too crazy. I give this story a 7.5 out of 10. Next, we got DCKO number 2. This one I really like. I'm just gonna put it out there. I was kind of expecting since we already got who was part of DCKO to already start off doing the bracket that they introduced online. There's some people on TikTok that had a problem with how they did this story, where you had to find like an artifact slash weapon so you can move on to the next stage. Like, for example, there's all the different color lantern rings that you can find that can help you move on. There was like a mother box. They had Bane's Venom and etc. And plus one mystery upgrade that you can use. And it looked like Superman was having a tough time trying to find some sort of artifact. Superman eventually found the Omega Sanction, which helped him. He achieved that Omega Sanction by essentially killing himself in a way. Like, he stabbed his heart with kryptonite and it gave him Darkseid's abilities to move on to the round. Overall, I thought this was really great. I felt like some heroes and villains died a little too quick. So for that, I'm gonna give this issue a 9 out of 10. Next, we got Superman number 32. This explained how the villains were able to get out of the Phantom Zone or try and basically ambush the heroes into joining the DCKO tournament, and kind of furthering the plot with the Kryptonian artifact that helps defeat Darkseid. So overall, it's very important. I give it like a 7.5, an 8. This one was just a cool, fun action adventure with Wally and Bart saving people, fighting the Omega Men. This one was an improvement on the previous issue, and plus I like how the ending of it where Bart loses his speed. Overall, this issue, I give it like an 8 out of 10. Next, we got Justice League Unlimited number 13. The Terrific 10 are having a little journey into hell. It's cool seeing like these group of mismatched heroes working together. This concept has been done quite a few times, not gonna lie, but overall I thought this issue was done pretty well. Nothing too crazy. I give it an 8. Next, we got Night Fight number 2. I like how each story is bleeding into the next issue. The main story doesn't really resolve in the first issue. Like, you're gonna have to continue getting the next issues to see how that story concludes with that Robin. And with this one is introduced Jason Todd as Batman. Like I mentioned before, it's a played out trope of Batman fighting those Robins, but they're handling it so like well. I give this one an 8.5. Now we're into the good stuff, where they actually do the bracket fighting. And the first bracket is Superman versus Captain Atom. Not gonna lie, before I started reading this, I knew Captain Atom was not gonna win. Basically, one punch and he's done, or his suit breaks and he can't control his powers. They did make it like a close fight. However, Superman did win, and I did think that overall it was a good story. I give it an 8 out of 10. Aquaman versus Hawkman. I knew that Aquaman, like mentioned before, he gained these new abilities like bloodbending, and I was like, man, it just sounds like it's gonna be an easy fight because Hawkman is known for dying. Yes, being reincarnated, but he keeps dying. Like, that's his thing. And he fucking smoked his ass. So I was happy reading that one. I thought this one was like a 8.5, 9 out of 10. Really great read. Wonder Woman versus Lobo, I was a little disappointed just because I forgot to mention that each solo fight is best 2 out of 3. And I felt like the first fight where Lobo won was just kind of cheap. And then the way how they ended it was mid. So I did want Wonder Woman to win. Like, I did not want Lobo to move on. But the way they handled it was not that great. So I give this a 7 out of 10. Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. I thought this was a pretty cool matchup because you got tech versus nature. They work together. It's like you're fighting your coworker that you work with, that you kind of get along with. Cyborg won. Swamp Thing did win one round, but ultimately the victory goes to Cyborg. But I do like how it ended with like Swamp Thing's, oh, you have to fight for not just for yourself but for others. It allowed Cyborg to gain more perspective on what he's fighting for, and I like that. He won because of his skill, and he's gonna apply what he knows to the future battle. Do I think he's gonna win it all? No, but I do like how they did this one. I give it a 9 out of 10. Harley Quinn versus Zatanna. Not gonna lie, there's no fucking way that Harley Quinn was gonna win. But she did win the first round because she did hit Zatanna in her throat, and all of her spells involved with her talking backwards. So I do like that. Similarly to Swamp Thing to Cyborg, Harley Quinn basically taught Zatanna that you're gonna have to be a little ruthless to win. And Zatanna was very hesitant until, you know, she ultimately won the battle. So I don't think she's gonna win. I feel like she's still gonna hold back in a way. But who knows? I like Zatanna, so we'll see what she does. This one I thought was a cool matchup. We got Jay Garrett Flash versus Guy Gardner Green Lantern. This one I actually had enjoyment reading just because he's a very like a proper old school kind of guy, and Guy's just a dick. Ultimately, the victory went to Guy, but it kind of ended with like, oh, go get him, kid. It's like, oh yeah, you got it. I thought this was pretty good. I thought this story was pretty good. The action was great. I give this an 8 out of 10. Lex Luthor versus the Demon Etrigan. I mean, Lex Luthor had to win because Etrigan was not gonna be able to move on. Lex is too smart. That's exactly what happened. Etrigan did get a round victory, but Lex pulled it off in the end. And the way how he pulled it off, I thought it was great. How he basically removed Etrigan from Jason Blood. So that's pretty cool. I liked it. I give this one 8.5 out of 10. This one was so surprisingly good. Jason Todd's been having the worst luck. People were kind of sick of Joker. The way they handled this story was great, actually. They recreated the scene where Jason Todd dies, but Jason kind of flipped the script. Basically, Jason Todd was able to change his origin of who he is. And I thought this was great. And then they basically killed each other in the end, and Joker only won because he had like a secret attachment to his heart to restart it. So it sucks that Joker moved on, but I think they handled it very well. We'll see how far Joker makes it. And last but not least, it is the Terrific 10 Part 3. Mr. Terrific and his team are trying to cross this Hell River. They're losing people left and right. It's no longer the Terrific 10. I thought it was crazy that they killed Aquaman. That was a big part of this issue. But overall, I give this issue I give it a 7. I give it an 8 out of 10. And yeah, that's the DC KO issue so far. I'm enjoying it a lot. I know that there's people kind of just like bitching and complaining about like, oh, this should have been like that, or I don't like how they're handling this. I like to think more optimistically about comics, and all these stories are cool. I'm loving it. I think so far the series is an 8.5 out of 10. Hopefully they can stick the landing. But yeah, thank you for listening to my Yap session. Go ahead and watch my other videos. I'm gonna try to be more proactive on YouTube and TikTok. So thank you guys again for listening to my Yap session. This has been DCKO so far. See you guys next time. Peace out, Tupac.